All right, Kaitlyn and I are back here with Crypto Crash. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is Microsoft. So Microsoft has joined the many other companies that said they are going to pay for their employees to travel if they need to for medical care, like abortion. So far, I haven't heard any of these companies getting any revenge from the red states, although I would expect DeSantis to take revenge on the way he tried to take revenge on Disneyland. That hasn't happened yet. And also, Microsoft is going head to head with Mandiant. They tried to acquire Mandiant, but they appear to have lost Mandiant to Google. So they're developing their own instant response service, which they say is the fastest growing part of their business. Three businesses all involving inside Microsoft, all involving real humans to help you detect threats, respond to them, and cope with incidents. So they say it's a very big growing business, which I can believe. How many people can afford to have their own instant response team? You pretty much have to outsource that to a contractor somewhere. And Microsoft seems to be moving into that space. Anyway, then Kaitlyn's got China.
I do, well, kind of. So yeah, let's take a look at the Eurasian Times. They're talking about Starlink. And this is an article by Tanmay Kadam. So, all right, so Starlink is a private enterprise by SpaceX. But of course, SpaceX is associated with the United States. And this is becoming a political issue because they are setting up a global internet access point controlled essentially by the United States. And other countries, particularly China, are very wary of this.
Well, controlled by Elon Musk, right? Which is not the same thing as the US government.
Well, that's where it gets a little interesting because the US government is totally involved in SpaceX and the deployment of these Starlink systems. So for example, the Starlink systems were recently deployed, funded by the US government in places like
Ukraine.
Ukraine, thank you. And of course, SpaceX works with NASA and the US government a lot to get this stuff done and has a bunch of funding, presumably from the US military. And yeah, here we go. The US Air Force is talking about setting up Starlink systems. And, you know, and you think, well, I mean, what if, for example, Huawei set up their own global internet system where then China could have essentially access to the entire backbone of all the people connecting from all over the world? That would create an issue. And I can imagine it's the same for China, this sort of the opposite, where it's like, no, we don't get to control, you know, what information is coming into and out of our country. So, you know, it's a lot of these private businesses are becoming political entities in and of themselves. And I'm not entirely sure that private entities like SpaceX, like Microsoft, like Google, are really prepared to go onto the international political landscape and do what's best for, you know, people at large and not just their own business.
Well, I'm not sure that's what they're interested in. I think they're in it to make money.
Exactly.
And I mean, I would assume that China would not let their own citizens connect to SpaceX.
What's going to stop them?
Oh, well, they'll just outlaw it. Same way they stop them anywhere else. Outlaw the devices, maybe block the radio frequencies, you know.
They can't really block the entire radio frequencies all over China. And
well, they can't. That's
you can't
true.
block. They can't block the satellites from going overhead. Anyone can smuggle in a dishy, set it up. China would not know any better.
Well, sure, but I can't believe that's a serious problem. I mean, there's some of them that sneak VPNs through the firewall too, and I think you don't care about small amounts of it, and most people will just use whatever's readily available. I would think the issue would be other countries where they're trying to extend China's reach.
Right. Well, what this does is it extends the United States' influence in those countries. So there's like I said, a huge political component to this that, like I said, these private companies are now being thrust into international politics, whether they like it or not.
Well, yeah. All right. And of course, I've got Elon Musk was threatened by the head of Russia's space program, I think, or some Russian government official posted an angry tweet threatening Elon Musk because he delivered those Starlink terminals to the people in Ukraine. So he's got this post in Russian from Rogozin. Anyway, threatening him, saying, as for Elon, you'll be held accountable like an adult, no matter how much you'll play the fool. And so after that, Elon Musk posted a tweet saying, if I die under mysterious circumstances, which is what tends to happen to anybody that irritates Putin. Although I highly doubt he would kill Elon Musk, although maybe not. He doesn't have any reluctance to kill his own oligarchs. Anyway, so yeah, there he is getting the pushback. But I think they've been getting that pushback all along on the American international companies.
Yeah, like I said, these private individuals with no background in international politics are being thrust into spotlight roles in international politics. And this is not an ideal situation. And we really need to have, some sort of guidance when this happens. Maybe have ambassadors, public ambassadors, maybe work for these private companies when they start getting involved in international politics. I don't know. But yeah, this is an issue.
Well, what we're going to have is we're going to have another Trump administration with no ambassadors at all and just insulting everybody on Twitter again. So,
well, that could work.
That's what we're likely to have, whether it works or not. Anyway, there's a new gadget, which is a prototype from a university, but it is a little Band-Aid looking thing that sticks on your skin with tiny little pins that puncture the skin just a little bit so you don't feel it. And it measures glucose, alcohol, and lactate and sends that to your phone with an app. So this sounds awesome for diabetics and probably a lot of other people too, just sort of a super Fitbit. Unfortunately, it's not for sale yet. It's a prototype, but they're hoping to commercialize it. And it would be very good for diabetes patients. And I would think it would be a big step forward in like wearable health monitoring. If they have any sense, they won't market it just for diabetes patients, but market it for everybody's health monitoring wearables, which is a big thing these days. But anyway, that would be a good thing. Diabetes patients currently use many clumsy systems that don't work very well. And you've got a college.
I do got a college that once was a college and now apparently will not be a college anymore. Yeah. So Engadget has an article written by Kay Holt talking about Lincoln College, and it got hit by a ransomware attack. And now it's going to be shut down. Now, I should note that Lincoln College, like a lot of colleges, have been struggling with enrollment since COVID-19. And they were having some financial issues. But when it got hit with ransomware, that was sort of the straw that broke the camel's back. And now the institution is folding, and this community in Illinois is not going to have this college anymore because of the ransomware. And so, we talk about things like ransomware attacking big corporations and, causing a lot of havoc, but it also does a lot of harm on the community level. And we really need to be aware of that, that when ransomware hits things like small hospitals, small colleges, it can be financially devastating. And like I said, now Illinois has one less college and one less avenue for students to enrich themselves and, get to a better place in their lives. So
one would hope so, or else to build up a huge debt and get themselves to a worse place in life. But anyway.
Well, yeah.
All right. And anyway, so I was supposed to teach a class in Sri Lanka starting a few months ago. I visited there a while ago, and the college there wanted me to teach classes, and somehow I never heard back from them. And I've been finding out why. Holy cow. You think we got arguments here. They have a huge financial crisis. When I was there, they were just having an election, and the people said, oh, it looks like we're going to elect the wrong guy. And I guess that's what they did. And they've had riots, and the riots got so bad, they forced their president out. The PM has agreed to leave, and he couldn't even leave safely. They had to send troops in to safely get him through the mob, setting fire to things and burning things and running around hitting people with clubs and stuff. So apparently the economic crisis is so dire that everything is totally collapsing over there. So that's not a good thing. And I guess they got rid of their PM. So if a new PM will help, maybe they can move forward again. I'm not sure. Well, anyway, let's get back to you, Kaitlyn, with Bitcoin.
Yeah. So speaking of things crashing, CNBC has an article written by Mackenzie Sigalos talking about how 40% of Bitcoin investors are now sinking. So it turns out Bitcoin might not have been the perfect, amazing investment everyone thought it was. Surprise, surprise.
Well, it always goes up and down a lot.
It goes up and down, but now it's it's down 55% from its peak back in November.
Yeah.
And now 40% of the holders are now, struggling and sinking, have lost money on Bitcoin.
Well, if they get out now, they hold on to it longer, it might be all right.
Yeah, if they hold on to it longer, it might be all right. They've sunk enough money into it,
And it's not just Bitcoin. The stock market's going down. Netflix is down. Amazon is down.
Yep.
Everything's going down.
Everything's going down. Yeah. So this is just a reminder that Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, NFTs are not necessarily a safe, get-rich-quick investment.
Oh, certainly, and especially not NFTs. Now, those seem to have crashed, and they may never come back because there was not any sense in them. They managed to make even less sense than other crypto.
Yep.
And there's other articles about it here. Coinbase is expected to report big losses, and that's going to be yet another unpleasant shock to the crypto market. And the thing that really happened here, this is what I used to stay completely out of this and tell students away because of stable coins. And stable coins, Terra had the fourth biggest stable coin, and it actually broke its peg. Like all other stable coins, it was held up by other investments in crypto. So when Bitcoin fell, they couldn't raise enough money to keep their stable coin up.
Oh.
Yeah, and when your stable coin falls, that's their standard of currency. Everything goes, and then there's a run to cash out. So it fell down 40% below $1. Now they got it back up to 90 cents by getting a loan from somebody. So, and this is what the big one. I haven't heard what happened to Tether yet, but I mean, when Tether goes, that'll be like 1929.
Yeah.
And so we'll see, but it's a hard times in crypto. I've been hearing there's also one of the big companies is going to, if Bitcoin falls below 22K, there'll be a margin call demanding that they pay up their loans, which they won't have the collateral for. So, there's a sort of like global warming. There's a tipping point with these price swings where beyond a certain point, it accelerates and crashes.
Yeah.
And we're not quite there yet, but we're getting pretty close to it. Bitcoin's fallen below 30K.
I mean, maybe a good investment in Bitcoin at this point would be to short sell it.
Well, yes, but I think actually what most people are doing, for example, El Salvador government, is buy it now. I think it's probably about as low as it's going to go, and it's going to come back. That would probably be the wisest investment now, but all high risk. I mean, you never put any money in crypto that you're not willing to lose because it's madness.
It is. And that was why I wanted to share this article, because I do know people that think they're going to become rich because they're going to invest in crypto. And, I really hate to break it to them, but it is very volatile. And you are very often likely to actually lose money in these investments. So,
well, if you want to get rich, the best thing to do is buy a house in California.
Yes, that is true. If you can get the capital to do that.
Yep. Yeah, but you certainly don't want to put any large amount of your wealth in crypto.
No.
Yeah. All right. But anyway, I wanted to offer an alternative. If you want to make money, the thing to do is buy Grindr. Grindr's going public. Now there's a growth industry. So
it is.
So that seems to me like a wise investment, probably better than Bitcoin. Not that I know anything about the Grindr's financial or business, but it sure seems like they're selling a product that is in demand.
It is very true.
Anyway, all right. Well, that's it for this one. And we'll be back on Friday.